Welcome to evo-genesis. Now, I really like racing games, but there's one series that's always held a special place in my heart, and that's the Tokyo Xtreme Racer series. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be playing through this game 100%. Spoilers. Good morning. Let's get to the video. Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero was first released as Shotoku Battle Zero in Japan on March 15, 2001. It was released as Tokyo Xtreme Racer in Europe on May 28, 2001, and as Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero in North America on June 9, 2001. Despite the title being Zero, it's actually the sequel to Tokyo Xtreme Racer 2 on the Dreamcast.
That's preposterous and makes absolutely no sense.
Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero actually started production as a Dreamcast game, but then was cancelled and moved to the PlayStation 2. It looks like they really went hardcore when they were making that Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero cover. And hey, check it out! Illegal street racing is rated E for everyone! Fun for the whole family! Now, the Shotoku Battle series actually dates all the way back to 1994 and started on the Super Famicom. Starting with the Dreamcast games, the series took major inspiration from manga Midnight, which is a manga about street racing in Tokyo. The last two bosses in the game are actually based off of Blackbird and the Devil Z. Obviously though, the main inspiration for this game is street racing. Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero begins with a pretty cool intro. We get a look at some cars and a battle between a Skyline and an NSX. The game has a few different modes of play: Quick Race, Time Attack, Free Run, and Versus mode. Quick Race is a survival mode where you take on as many rivals as you can before you run out of SP. Time Attack has you trying to set and beat records for specific parts of the highway. Free Run lets you take your car out for a drive without any cars on the highway. Then Versus mode lets you go head to head in a split screen battle. Then there's Quest mode. This is the main game. Quest mode starts you off with some cash and tells you to buy a car. Now, none of these cars are licensed, so it helps to know what the car is by how it looks. After buying your whip, you can name it whatever you want. From there, you'll be in your garage. This is where you can buy parts to upgrade your car, as well as adjust your vehicle settings. Later, when you have more cash, you can buy more vehicles and store them in the garage. Now you'll be hitting the streets of Tokyo. Just select which part of the highway you want to race on, and you're off. This game works differently than most racing games. You drive freely on the highway, and if you're going the speed limit, get the heck out of my way. Battles begin when you pull up to a rival and flash your high beams to challenge them. Once the battle begins, you have two health bars at the top of the screen. The one on the left is your car's SP, and the bar on the right is your opponent's. Your bars drop by being behind a rival or from crashing. A little scrape will do some damage, but take too much damage and you can lose even if you're in the lead. It works kind of like a fighting game. Races at the beginning take about a minute. Later on, they take about 40 seconds. And in some cases, even less. When you win, you get cash to use for upgrading and buying new vehicles. While it does seem repetitive, there's actually a very addictive quality to Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero. You go from one race to the next just wanting one more win. You can watch replays of your more intense battles, a feature I used quite a bit. On your map, you'll be able to see all the rivals around you. Blue are rivals you haven't raced yet. Green means you've already defeated them. And pink are rivals that have defeated you or you've had a draw race with. Most rivals are part of a team. These teams usually have some sort of theme. Like this one, Rolling Guy. The whole team drives 8 6s. When you defeat all the members in a team, the leader will challenge you. After you've defeated a certain number of leaders, you'll be challenged by one of the 13 devils or a member of the Zodiac. These battles act as bosses. They are very fast and use custom vehicles. The game doesn't have much of a story, but it does have bios for all these crazy characters. I thought this one was funny. It said Wind of Night here makes unbelievable mistakes. In our race, he bumped into a wall, bounced across the road and lost all his health. Pretty unbelievable. I found this feature useful and would check after a tough race. Being able to see the horsepower weight on these cars is pretty useful information. Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero plays kind of like an arcade simulation mix. Every part makes a noticeable improvement on your car's performance. Speaking of cars, this game has quite a few. You can unlock new vehicles after you defeat specific rivals. Some of these may be minor variations, but it's a kind of cool and unique collection of cars. I have to say, for a game from 2001, there's a surprising amount of vehicle customization. It's got everything from wheels to body kits. Oh, and while none of the cars are licensed, this game did partner with the first Fast and Furious movie. Back to customization, I just had to make Hulk Hogan's Dodge Viper.
What you gonna do, brother, when 950 horses of Viper power comes running for you?
Adjusting the settings on your car is a necessity. There are some races that I won just because I had better settings. You can adjust gear ratios, ride height, spring toughness, and so on. Earlier I mentioned the 13 Devils. Their leader, Speed King, is insanely fast. His R34 Skyline has 1200 horsepower. I beat him with the 2-door WRX STI. Once you defeat Speed King, you get a tiny bit of story. It says that you defeating the 13 Devils has brought back the racing team, the Zodiac. And then for some reason the credits roll. After the credits, you return to your garage. Back out on the highway are all new teams to race. I bought Speed King's Skyline and it made the game way too easy. Very few rivals posed any sort of challenge. Then the Zodiacs show up. The good thing is they're pretty fast. But just like the Devils, they all start dropping like flies. Their boss, White Charisma, is however pretty hard. Once you beat White Charisma, you get a little bit more story, and the credits roll again. This is where most people put the game down. Even me, the first time I played this game, this is where I quit. But I wanted to race the true final boss, and to do that you have to race the Wanderers. Wanderers aren't part of a team, and they all have special requirements to race each one of them. Some of these requirements are a pain. I had to read a few guides and write out my race schedule for every in-game day. A few of these races are terrible. You have to use some truly awful cars to meet the Wanderer's specific requirements. Then finally, the last two rivals, Zero in his Porsche and the final boss in his Z. Zero I smoked. My car could hit 263 miles per hour and his couldn't. The final boss, Unknown, is really fast, over 1,000 horsepower, and his car is practically weightless. But one big drawback to Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero is the AI. Unknown will almost always lose control of his car and crash. Then you just drive by. I couldn't help but feel disappointed. After all, I had to beat 399 rivals so I could race Unknown. And then he turns out to be one of the easiest races in the game. Then the credits hit again. After this you can keep playing and race the same cars over and over again, but that gets old pretty quick. This game also has some DVD extras, including a mini documentary about street racing in Tokyo. It also has a trailer for the first Fast and Furious movie. The music in this game is nothing special, but it has a few good tunes. Overall, I had a great time with Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero, and it's definitely worth checking out. It's not too expensive either. If you got a PS2, I definitely recommend it. It's a good time. So yeah, that was Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero. Now that's not the only game in the series, there's quite a few more. Do you have any memories of Tokyo Xtreme Racer Zero? Leave them down in the comments. Now thank you so much for spending your time to watch my video. I appreciate it very much. If you liked it, please like it, please subscribe. Peace!